today's notes, we're going to talk about collinear versus coplanar. They look kind of the same, but they're a little different. And the way that we remember is because of the word that's in the middle. Okay, so on this one, the word that's in the middle is the word line. And on this one, the word that's in the middle is the word plane. So that's going to help tell us what we're talking about. Okay, so let's talk about definitions. Collinear has the word line right in the middle, is points that lie on the same line. Co means together or with, and line is here, so it means together line, right? So it's points that are together on the same line. All right, so all of these points, you see I have a point here, I have point P, point Q, point R, and point S. They're all on the same line, they're in a straight line. So all of those points are collinear. Coplanar, remember it has the word plane in the middle of it. Co means together or same or with. So all the points on the same plane. Points that lie on the same plane. So all of these points, see this plane right here, looks kind of like a slanted piece of paper there? That's a plane. Point Y, point X, point W, and point Z, they're all on the same plane, so they are coplanar. Okay, so what I want you to do now if you're doing these notes is I want to pause the video and I want to see if you can come up with the answers to these questions. Okay, name 3 points that are collinear, so that's going to be 3 points that lie on the same line. Some of them might have more than one correct answer. The second one is name 3 points that are not collinear, so they're not in a straight line. The third one is name 3 points that are coplanar on plane P. That's this plane right here. And 4 is name 2 points that are not coplanar in plane R. So that means they are not on the same plane in plane R, which is right there. Okay, so I'm going to pause the video, or if you're watching at home, you're going to pause the video and see if you can write in pencil so that you can correct. See if you can come up with the answers to these. And my answers might be correct, but you might have different ones that are also correct. Okay, so you've paused the video and you've come up with your answers, and see if you can check your answers with what I come up with. 3 points that are collinear. Well, I see a line right here. Okay, I see a line that has an arrow on the top and an arrow on the bottom, and I see the points that are on there right here. So 3 points that are collinear are points C, B, and A. C, B, and A. They're all on the same line. Now let's name 3 points that are not collinear. And there could be a whole bunch on here as long as it's not C, B, or A. You can name any other points. So you could name points F, point C, and point D. Now you might have had other points as long as you had 3 of these points that are not A, B, and C. So you could have named point F or E or C or D or B or A. As long as you didn't list C, B, and A together, then that would be correct. Now if you notice, P doesn't have a dot next to it. There's no dot next to P. That means it's naming the plane. It's not a point. That's naming this plane right. Let's see if I can shade this in. Plane P is right. It's all of this. See what I'm shading in? All that's shaded, that's plane P. Okay, plane R is right here, and that's going to be all of this going this way. Okay, so plane R is all the ones going this way. Plane P is all the ones going that way. I colored outside the lines a little bit, but that's okay. All right, number 3 says name 3 points that are coplanar in plane P. So I have to name 3 points that are in that darker shading. Okay, 3 points that are touching the darker shading. I can't name P because that's not a point, but D is in there, and C is also touching, and B is also touching. So D, C, and B, they're all touching that plane P that I shaded in kind of dark. Now number 4 says name 2 points that are not coplanar in plane R. So plane R is this across here, the lighter shading. I need 2 points that are not on the lighter shading. Okay, and really I only see 2. I see D, it's not on plane R. And over here, F, see, that's not on plane R either. I can't name C because it's also on this plane. I can't name B, it's also on this plane. And actually, A is also on there. It doesn't look like it, but since it's still on this line and the planes go on forever, it technically would be part of that too. Okay, so if you need to pause the video before we move on, now's a good time to pause so you can catch up and get your notes filled in. So if you need to pause now before we move on. All right, now we're on the other side for intersection postulates. So first we need to know what a postulate is. A postulate is an accepted rule or fact. It's not really something we can prove because it's the most basic idea there is. And you can't prove something without using the word. You can't define a word using its own word. So there are some things that are very, very basic that we just have to assume and just accept that they are a rule. The first postulate is that two lines intersect at a point. We just have to accept that that is true. So it's saying that line M intersects line N. So here's line M, and here's line N. And where do they cross, or where do they touch each other? At point A. Right here at this point. That's where M and N cross and touch each other. Okay, like right where they touch each other, that's that point. All right, the second postulate is that 2 planes intersect at a line. All right, and so if you see, let's see if I can shade these planes so you can see them a little better. All right, let's see, I have this dark plane here, which actually goes all the way through to this other side here. Okay, that's going to be called plane J. You don't have to shade these in if you don't want to. I'm just trying to show you that so you can see a little better. Okay, so that's one plane going this way. The reason why this line is dotted is because this is behind it. So we're going to do this one really lightly. Okay, so we have a light colored plane, and plane S is the one that's colored lightly. Plane J is the one that's colored darkly. Okay, and the place that they intersect, okay, kind of like this, or kind of like, I can't slice my hands up, but they intersect right here. The place where they intersect is a line. So plane S, that's the light colored plane, intersects plane T, oh, I thought it was J. Plane T, I guess we'll call it plane T, at, and we have to call it a line. And so we're going to call it line AB. Now remember, if I just put those 2 letters, I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's ray AB, segment AB, or line AB. So I need to tell the reader that it's a line, which means I need to draw a little miniature line right above it with 2 arrows. So now I can call that line AB. All right, and now the last one here, the postulate, is a plane and a line also intersect at a point. That's kind of like if this line was like a pencil and it was piercing through the middle of this piece of paper right here. Where that pencil pierces through that paper is a point. So line K, which is this line right here, intersects at plane Q, that's this surface right here, at point C. Right there at that point, that's where it pokes through the paper. And we don't have to put anything next to it, we can just use one letter to call it a point. Okay, and as you can see, this is a solid line. If it's solid, we're going to fold. If it's dotted, we can cut it, but if it's solid, we have to fold it. So again, these notes are going to go in our interactive notebook. We're going to fold them along this line, and I don't know what page, but I will let you know when I find out. So we're going to glue one of these sides and put this in our interactive notebook, and I'll let you know what page. Okay, so that's the end of our collinear, coplanar, and intersection postulates.